Anyways, welcome everyone. It's so great to see so many of you. So today, the last Tuesday of every month, we're going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to do some sort of alternate workout. I have a couple of surprises over the next couple of months, just to switch things up. And we still, we want to be focusing on our cardio and we want to be focusing on our strength. But when we think about wellness as a whole, there's other aspects that we can be focusing on. So my first priority, because I know it's something that I continually work on, is mobility and flexibility. And one of the things that we find is when you're paddling or running or doing some sort of sport, if you're having trouble executing it, it's probably because there's some sort of limitation in your body. Maybe it's your cardio, maybe it's your strength, but maybe there's just something that's not moving well for you. And we, as we grow older, it becomes a bigger challenge for us. So when I was doing my research for tonight, I looked at it and I thought it was really interesting. So the word flexibility and the whole act of doing flexibility exercise is to lengthen your muscles. Mobility is about increasing your range of motion. So both of them are important. That's very distracting. Because when we are paddling, when we apply it to a paddling scenario, and I can apply it to a running scenario as well, because I'm continually working on lengthening my stride so I can cover more ground with less, because I have very short legs. I have to move a lot faster. I always say I do more running than everybody else to cover the same distance. And it's the same in paddling. If you're paddling and you're paddling here, you're not getting that same range as if somebody's way out here. But if you're not getting that range of whatever your range is based on your body composition, it could be a mobility issue. So that's why I wanted to focus on mobility tonight. And I started doing mobility exercises. I injured my shoulder 2 years ago and in an impingement, and spent 6 months in physio, and there were a lot of band exercises and things like that. But the stick is a great way to do it because you can really just kind of test where you're at. And you can use it as a measure of how much mobility you have. And you can see today I don't have a whole lot. So we're going to start with a warm-up. So I asked you all to find a pole. You can do it with a chair, at least some of the standing stuff. But I think you're going to find you're going to have more success with a pole. And it can be a broomstick. I was actually going to bring my paddle out, but I wasn't going to encourage you guys to use your paddle, just in the sense that I didn't want you to damage your blade. And I have an old paddle that I don't use anymore. So I thought that would be kind of fun, but I got over it. So we're going to start with a bit of a warm up. And I'm going to move back here. I've got it written out so I can see what it is. So what you want to do, and everybody's got a different pole. So mine's a 4-foot pole. So it shows you how tall I am. And when I hold it, I'm kind of about arm's reach. So if your pole is higher, then just so that your arms are straight. And what you're going to do is you're going to put your feet a little more than hip width distance apart. Arletta said her husband offered her the plunger to use. That's a different workout. And so what we're going to do is your feet are going to be a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. And I want you to lift the stick up, and I want you to take the base of the stick and have it pointed in. So if I'm holding it, see how it's out just a bit? It's not straight up and down like it would be if we were paddling. It's going to be just in a little bit. So you may need to be on your mat, or you may need to be on the carpet just so that it's not slipping. I've got a laminate floor here, so I can't do it on the floor. And all we're going to do is we're going to take a nice, wide, comfortable stance, and we're going to start by lifting our individual heels. But you're not going to move this part. This part's going to stay solid. Your arms are going to be out like this. And just gently and slowly, you're going to lift one foot up. And as that one comes down, you're going to lift the other one up. And these are very slow, deliberate movements. And you're going to be putting a little bit of pressure on that pole. So you're almost balancing yourself. Everybody's concentrating very hard. Once you've done 5 repetitions on each, now I want you to do both feet at the same time. So almost like a ballet movement. You're coming up and going back down. Try and keep your body stable so that there's not a lot of movement. You don't want to be doing a lot of movement forward and back. And if you're moving a lot, you may need to be putting more pressure on that pole. So once you've done the both up and down, I want you to lift up on one toe, and I want you to roll from side to side. So you're really just rolling from the big toe out to your baby toe. And again, don't force that movement. It's whatever mobility you have. This is just waking up your ankle right now. You're going to do 5 repetitions on that side. And when you've done that, you're going to pop up on the other side. And again, you're just going to roll from one side to the other. Hi, Colleen. We're just in our warm-up. We've muted you.
That's fine, thanks.
Okay. Hi, Julie. We're just warming up. All right. Just give your feet a little shake. Come back into position. Bringing that one foot up. Now try and do a full ankle rotation. You're going to do 5 in one direction and 5 in the other direction. And again, whatever range of motion you have. And then when you're done that, you're going to pop that foot up. This one is the one I found the hardest, was actually the circles. You're going to see where all my mobility issues are. And bringing it back around. And to finish off our ankles, both feet firmly planted, balanced on the stick, 2 feet up and down, nice and slow for 5. Excellent. Good job, everyone. Give your feet a shake. We are going to move into some rotations. So I want you to hold the stick so that it's comfortable on either side. Pull it into your sternum. So it's about there. You don't want to be all bent. Just kind of wherever that stick falls. Feet are shoulder width apart. And I want you to just turn from the belly button and come back to center. We're going to do 5 on each side. Good job. Now we're going to flip the stick behind our back and we're going to hook it with our elbows. So you're going to try and figure out where that sweet spot is for you. So you can see, I'll turn right around. And what that is, it's actually going to pop your shoulders back. Do not force that movement. It is wherever you kind of feel that you're actually in really good posture. And again, with your feet hip width apart, see what kind of mobility you've got. Nice and slow, breathing through the motions. Nicely done, everyone. Sorry, I just have to keep referring to my notes. All right. Now we're going to be Baton Majors for a second. Hold the stick in the middle. Make sure there's nothing around you for this part of it. And you are just going to spin it from side to side. So you're going to see my arm is not here, my arm is not here. My arm is straight out, just like I'm paddling. And I am just rotating as far as I can from side to side. Nice and slow and deliberate. 5 times on each side. Wow, I know who was in the marching bands. Did that. And when you're done, switch your hands. Try and keep your wrist straight as well. I just caught myself bending my wrist. Pass it back to the other hand. Arm straight out. Now, and again, keeping this wrist nice and straight, I want you to go forward and backward. Ooh, I'm clicking. When you've done 5 full extensions on that side, go to your other arm. Really concentrate. I'm finding if I'm doing it too fast, I'm cheating the movement. Nice. I can feel my wrist looser already. And now for the final one on our wrist. You can hold it straight out. In a lot of warm-ups, you've probably done stir the pot. We're going to stir the pot with the stick, and we're going to go 10 circles one way. And then when you've done your 10, go back the other way. And see how big your circle can get. Nice and controlled. Keep that arm stable. It's really only your wrist in the movement. And when you're done, switch hands. Interesting, this high side is so much more challenging for me. And go the other way. There, and our wrists are all warmed up. Now we're going to go into some shoulder stretching and mobility. Whoop. So I want you to hold your stick at both ends. I'm just going to come a little closer. What we're going to do is we're going to do a nice big figure 8. But again, nice and slow and opening all that up. We're going to do 10 in total. For our paddlers in the group, this should feel like a familiar movement. Excellent. All right, now this one, we're going to start almost like in a tricep stretch. You're going to hang on, my stick. You're going to come up behind your head, and you're going to go back over. might find this one a little bit harder. I know I do. You're going to do 5 times on each side. Nice and slow. Take all the time you need. All right, give your shoulders a little shake. For this one, we're going to change our stance a little bit. We're going to go into a split stance. So feet as wide apart as is comfortable for you to have balance, because we're going to do some more balance work later. Remember when we hooked that stick in behind our arms? I want you to do that again. So that's popping our shoulders up and giving us all of that good posture. So we're not slumped over our phones or our computers. And I want a nice, you're going to have a little bit of hip motion in this. You want to try and keep it as steady as possible. And I want you to just go from one side to the other 5 times. When you've completed 5, switch your legs and do the same exercise. And pay attention to how that feels to your body. Are you getting more movement on one side? Is your hip bothering you on one side? Is your leg bothering you? Are you finding it hard to keep your balance? Woo! And I'm trying to get her to keep my balance. Excellent. All right, for this one, I want you to put the stick behind you, like this, and your legs are going to be wide. You're going to spread out your hands as much as you can. Again. Okay, I've forgotten from yesterday. You can do it a little bit differently. Just put the stick up on your neck, legs nice and wide, and you're going to go down like you're going to touch your toes. Nice, slow movements. And when you've done 5 on each side, give your shoulders a roll, give your legs a shake. For this one, we're going to go into a low lunge position. And that may look different for different people. So your knee's going to be down on the ground, and you're going to be like this. Find a space for yourself that is comfortable. I want you to hold your hands about forehead height on your stick. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll forward. But you do not want your knee to go past your toes. And then you're going to come back up. Nice, slow rocking motion. When you've done 5, I'd like you to switch your legs. You're going to want to move your stick. And basically, the stick takes up the place where your other foot was. And do 5 nice rock and rolls on the other side. Nice, I'm seeing some good range of motion there. All right. For this one, I want you to go back into your split stance. So I'll do it this way. You've got one foot forward. The stick is going to go in the place where your other foot would be. What you're going to do is you're going to lean forward, and as you lean forward, your arm's going to come up. So you're almost doing like a triangle pose in yoga, but you're getting a little bit of a stretch through your stick hand. And you're getting a back stretch through the other side. When you're done your 5, I'm just going to spin. I'm on my right foot forward, sticks going in my left foot area with my right hand, and I'm going to repeat the movement for 5. Good. Are we feeling a good stretch? All right. We're going to do some single leg Romanian deadlifts. You may need both hands for balance. You may need one hand for balance. What you're going to do, you've got nice soft knees. You're going to come down. Woo! My balance is really up today. And you're going to come in, and you're going to see how far you can go and come back up. So you can do 5 on each leg. You can bend the leg that you've got stabilizing. Whew. See how far you can get with your range of motion on this. You really have to put pressure on the stick for balance. All right. For this one, we're going to do what looks like a modified pigeon pose, for those of you who know yoga. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit, I don't know if you guys can see me, my one leg, my front leg, turn the camera down. If you can do it without making a mess of the whole thing. There, I think you can see me better now. There. Okay. See, one leg is in front here, and the other one, my knee is tucked up. My knee is tucked up to my foot. So I've basically created a series of triangles. So if you start with your front leg and make it perpendicular to your mat and tuck the other foot up, this leg is running along the length of the mat. Now, it really depends on your flexibility and your mobility as to how far you can go. If you need a little more, you can move that leg back slightly. But if you're just starting out, you may want to keep it as tucked up as you can. Then what you're going to do is you're going to hold the pole in the same arm as the knee that's forward, and you're going to lean, and you're going to feel a stretch through your hip flexor, well, actually through your glute, and through your arm, and you're just going to lean. Wow, Jamie's got some great flexibility there. Nicely done. Release. And just do that 5 times on your own time, and just to wherever you feel a stretch. You never want to force your muscles when you're working on your mobility or stretching. It always backfires. When you're done your 5, you're going to move your feet around. So again, the front leg is at a 90 degree, perpendicular to your mat, 90 degrees. You're going to tuck that other leg up. You can feel that this is my less flexible and mobile side. I'm going to just plant my stick, and I'm going to see how far forward I can go, get a bit of a stretch, and back up. Sometimes our mobility is limited by our surgery side as well. This is always more of a struggle for me on this side, and it's something that I have to continually work on. You really should feel a stretch of the entire side of your body. When you're done, give your legs a shake. Roll your shoulders out. We've got 1 more. Actually, we've got 2 more, and then we're going to move into some balance work. This one everyone should know. This one's actually going to feel really good today for me, my back bothering me. So you're going to go into child's pose. So if you've got a yoga mat, your knees are going to be just touching the outsides of your mat, and you're going to bring your big toes in as close as you can to touch. And again, it's going to be different for everyone. It really just depends on where you're at or where you're at today. And once you're settled into that position, you're going to put that stick out in front of you, and you're just going to lean forward into a child's pose and drop your shoulders and feel that opening through your back. I'm going to turn my mat so you can see what it looks like from the side. I do a modified version of this actually after paddling, usually against a table. But I like this stick idea. And just give it a couple of seconds here, give it a hold and a release, and then move back into the stretch. Make sure you're breathing. It's so important. You want to breathe breath into that area that you want to lengthen and increase that mobility. And when you've done your 5 reps, and do a bit of a calf release. So you're going to stand hip width apart. You're going to move one of your feet just slightly in front with your heel up, like you're going to do a calf stretch. You're going to take that stick for balance, and you're just going to bend into that stretch. Only until you feel a stretch in the calf. You do not want to force this stretch. And release it. And do 4 more on your own time. Nice. I like all these slow, deliberate movements I'm seeing. This is when you don't want to rush. And when you're ready, switch your legs, pop up on that heel on the opposite foot, and nice slow stretching out. This one I can feel the stretch all the way up my leg. And we're done the mobility portion of the workout. So let's take a couple of minutes. We'll get a drink of water. If anybody has any questions or comments, feel free to unmute. Small water bottle.
When it's Nancy, I assume in all the twirling ones at the beginning, like the moving the stick back and forth, you wanted us to keep our hand closed, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it was really a wrist mobility exercise. So what you were really doing was rotating your wrist in all of the different directions, which is why we didn't want to bend our wrist back either. It was about just increasing that rotation in our wrist. And when we're on, on a mouse or on a keyboard all day, that is an area where we lose a lot of mobility. I know myself, if I'm editing or doing anything like that, I'm finding I'm a lot like this. So even when I was practicing yesterday, I thought, oh, that feels so much better. Why don't I do that all the time?
That's right. No, I assume that was the case. Just wanted to confirm. Because you get a lot more movement in the stick if you loosen up your hand a bit.
Oh, for sure. But then you're not getting the benefit out of the actual movement. But you're right. Yeah. And it is important. That's a good point, Nancy. And when I didn't mention, although I do say it in all of the workouts, that it's so important to be thinking about, even though they seem like a really simple movement, what am I supposed to be working with this? And what's the benefit that I want to be trying to get out of it, right? Because we can blow through these movements pretty easy. Even when I was planning the workout, I thought, well, that doesn't work very hard. That can't be that bad. And then I started doing it and I thought, no, actually, you really have to think about it with some of those movements, exactly how you're moving and how your body's responding to that movement, because they are movements or exercises we do. But when you've got that pressure on the stick, you've now got a point of tension that you're working with as you're doing that stretch. So you're going to feel different in the stretch than when you would normally do like a calf release after you do a run. I do them all the time. Doing them with the stick, I was like, wow, I can feel it going all the way up my legs. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to incorporate this, because I've been doing a bit of reading on it.
Gwen, will you send us a description of these?
You know what? I actually found, there's actually a company, believe it or not, because you can buy anything, that makes these mobility sticks. And so they have a YouTube channel, and that was where I got a lot of the core exercises from. That's kind of the rabbit hole I went down. I knew I wanted to do it with a stick, and I'd seen some. So I can send out some links to the individual exercises, but their exercises use a combination of, like, they have 6-foot sticks and 5-foot sticks, and they have, stuff where they hold up on the ceiling and stuff like that. And I was like, no, what's applicable to us and what areas do we want to work on? But I'm happy to send out the links to the individual exercises, and then you can go through that YouTube channel, and there may be an area you want to focus on in stretching, and they'll break it down for you, and then you can take what you want out of it. But I put this workout together, and then I did an actual 45-minute workout of theirs yesterday, just to kind of see how I would feel after, and I felt great after. But there were a lot of exercises that I just couldn't do because I didn't have a longer stick, and I wasn't going to stick the stick up to the ceiling for tension and things like that. But no, I found it was really, really good, and I'd heard about it. But yeah, and these sticks are like, I don't know, $200 US. So we got broomsticks, we got paddle handles, we're all good. So the last part.
I meant this workout in particular.
This one, sure. I'm happy because I did take it from each of these. So I'm happy to send out the links to it. But I encourage people that if they have enjoyed it or felt a loosening or felt that this was helpful, you know, that channel is where I basically sourced most of the exercises that we're doing today. And I encourage you to go through, because everybody's got different areas where they feel they need more work. And I've kind of focused more on paddling specific areas, our hips, our glutes, our shoulders, our wrists, focusing on that. Hi, kitty. Lisa's kitty's visiting. All right, so the last about 15 minutes tonight, because I want to respect everyone's time, is balance. So why I've put the two of these together is, raise your hand if you've paddled in an outrigger canoe, in an OC1 or an OC2. I know Estelle has, Nancy has, Helen has. Okay, so a few have. So I remember the first time I got into an OC and I almost flipped the other person who was so kind to let me in with them, just getting into the boat. And I paddled in an OC for bits of 2 seasons, and I hoolied for the first time, which means you flip the boat. I hoolied for the first time last year, and it was a race, so I didn't win, which was fine. But what I learned from outrigger is that your midline, your core, and your balance in the boat is essential to staying on top of the water. And in a dragon boat, even though that boat is heavier and you have more people in it to help stabilize it, how you are able to balance also reflects in your paddling. Because as you are reaching outside of the boat, having that midline core strength will really pay off when you're in a boat. And then for those who have had the opportunity, and I remember we were having a conversation the other day about being in a small boat, a 10-person boat, they're quite a bit tippier. They're definitely, you feel more movement in the boat. You can feel even if somebody, you know, does the little wiggle thing, the whole boat goes. So that midline strength is something we kind of take for granted, and that really comes from balance. So we're going to start out a little easy, and we're going to get a little bit harder. So I asked you to find a couple of things around your house, and that they were on purpose. So we're going to start, I was watching some really great videos by a physical therapist who does balance testing. And so for the very first one, it's called a Romberg Stance. And if anybody's had to have balance testing, you would know what that is. But you're going to put your feet touching. So you're going to zip yourself right up. And you're just going to have your arms resting at the side. In yoga, we call that mountain pose. We're just, you know, we're nice and tall and we're straight. And you're just going to see how your balance feels. And if that feels pretty simple, I want you to close your eyes and see how that feels. Oh, wow. I'm pretty impressed. If that's still easy, I want you to slowly take your head and turn it from side to side. Man, we got some good balance in here. All right, we're gonna kick it up a notch. If you have yoga blocks, which what I found was the hardest of the 3, you can put those out or take a big beach towel and roll it up. What you want to do is you want to give yourself a bit of an unstable surface. So on the beach towel, I'm going to go back into that Romberg stance, and I'm going to put my feet, I'm going to zip myself up, and I'm going to put my feet down, and I'm going to go, okay, I got pretty good balance. Try closing my eyes. See what that's like. It's a little bit tougher. Have to focus a bit more. And if you've got great balance, I did this one just about before I came on tonight. Hop onto that yoga block. And for those of you who've been in an OC, you're going to feel like you're in an OC1. And now, if you're struggling, pull that belly button in and see if that helps to stabilize where you are. So this one I can do Eyes open. Eyes closed are a bit tougher. And side to side is not helping. So there's different levels of challenge. So I encourage you to just see how that works for you and where you're feeling and what your balance is. But you can see that if you kind of, really pull in that midline and pull in that core, and that's one of the reasons we do so much core work in paddling, is that's going to help keep you straight. If you don't have yoga blocks, I've also done it, actually it was almost harder, on just a toss cushion. So it's just a down toss cushion, and I was on that, and that really gave me some rock and roll. Or if you've got a half Bosu ball. So just kind of, test yourself, have a look around, see what you've got. So now the next one, although I think I made this too easy. I want you to put one foot in front of the other, like you're on a tightrope. And I want you to bring your arms out to the sides. And I want you to twist. Ooh, this one's a little tougher. And if you're finding you've got good balance, close those eyes and see how you do. Once you've done a few of those, switch your legs. See if that makes a difference for you. Again, it doesn't have to be a fast movement. A fast movement's going to throw you off balance. Really focus. Oh, there, I see some are better on that side. Oh, that's not my good side. There you go. All right. Now, for those with hip problems, this one might be a bit more challenging. And I encourage you, that's why I gave you a chair. Anybody needs a balance point, bring out your chair. So now we're going to just plant one of our feet, and we're going to do a swing out and back. Whoa. I may use a chair tonight, folks. And see how that works for you. If it's bothering your hip, don't do this one. Just see where you have to shift your weight so that you can do that. When you've done 5 or 6, shift to the other leg. And out and back. Try not to swing your body. Therein lies your challenge. It's really only your leg that should be moving. Nicely done, everyone. Now we're going to do the same front to back. So you're going to go forward and you're going to come back. And again, you're not doing this. Now, see, now it's going to be, you're going to be watching me there. So you may not get a full range, but you want to try and keep that core centered. Because it's very easy to use the momentum of our body to do that movement. And yeah, just fingertips on the chair, whatever you need, because that's going to build for you. Okay, here's another challenge. Leg planted, do it sideways. You're going to raise one leg up. You're going to raise your arms, and you're going to look up. See how long you can stay stable. And take a break. Do that 2 more times, and then switch legs. Again, try and keep really good posture as you're doing that. I'm not looking up because I'm watching all of you. that I should be looking up. Whoa, which makes this a lot harder. Okay, next challenge. In our warm-ups each week, we do a skater lunge. So we're going to do a non-moving version of that. You're going to have nice soft knees. You're going to take that leg out to the side, bring it into your foot, back, into foot. Woo! I want a chair for a little stability. When you've done 5, switch. Well, Lana's got the right idea. She's got her stick out. Atta girl. Make sure that that supporting leg, the knee is very soft. You do not want to lock that leg. You will injure yourself. And you're going to find there's a difference between your legs. Excellent, well done. Everybody give your hips a shake. I know I'm feeling it right here. All right, 2 more and we're done. So this one is going to be very similar to the skater's lunge, but now what you're going to do, turn that camera down so you can see my feet. Find a nice, good central midline position, feet about hip width apart. Again, you're going to balance on that one leg. Now you're going to do forward, in. And you do like 10 o'clock, in. 9 o'clock, in. 8 or 7 o'clock, in. And 6, in. And I'm going to come back. So you're going straight back, about a quarter of the way, straight 90, and straight out front. Definitely, I see a few of you kind of giving a wiggle there. Don't be afraid to use a chair for stability. You don't want to put too much pressure on your feet, but it's a really good challenge of where you are with your midline. Try and keep that body vertical. Whoa. And if you need to tap when you come back and give yourself a break, you go ahead and do that. And when you're done, give your legs a shake. And we're going to go into our last movement. For those who do yoga, it's Warrior 3. So remember when we started with our one-legged Romanian deadlift back with the stick? So you're going to plant your leg. Other leg's going to be at, the other foot's going to be at 90. This one's going to be pointing that wall. And what you're going to do is you're going to launch yourself up like an airplane or out in front. And you're going to give yourself a balance. You can hold that as long as it's comfortable for you. Again, if it's a challenge, have that chair in front of you and just put your fingertips on it just to give you that little extra support. You're going to do 3 in total on each leg. Nice work there, Linda. Nice extension. Woo! Nicely done, everyone. And that wraps it up for tonight. How's everybody feel after that? Kathy's giving me 2 thumbs up. Who found that a real challenge tonight? Just honest, I just doing a straw poll.
Some of the balance stuff was the last little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good sometimes to check in with ourselves. I find sometimes I think I can do something and I'm kind of surprised when I can't, right? Like you think, well, I work out and I do my cardio and I do all the right things. And then it is something as simple as, bye Lisa, as